Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon for those joining us from the East Coast. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. I see some familiar faces, well, familiar names. Um, let's see. I see Emily. Hi, Emily. Chelsea. Dave, welcome. Welcome. Don, Ethan, Jorge. Juan Eduardo, Mary, hi Mike, Rick, Scotty, Shannon, Tiffany, Tracy, and Wendy. Thank you so very grateful to have you all here. Good morning. So, welcome to our first Glass Entrances and Partitions webinar. This webinar was scheduled to introduce you to a great new tool. You've probably heard from our prior program. This is our most updated, which was storefronts. Now we have Glass Entrances and Partitions web. This is our web version to storefronts online. So welcome. In as part of our digital transformation at CRL, we're introducing the capability of being able to design your projects in the office or on site 24/7. So in order for us to do that, we decided to go with a browser-based version for you. So here we go. I hope you really enjoy your time with us and you really enjoy the program. So welcome again. Some wanted to go through some introductions. So my partner in crime today is Mr. Julio Soto. He's our expert at hand within our entrances and our office partitions. So welcome, Julio. My name is Yancy Salinas. I'm the online programs manager. I manage all of our design and estimating programs for CRL. So, should you have any questions in reference to any of the features, or if you wanted to share some of your feedback, please feel free to reach out. During the process of the webinar, I will be providing you with emails for Julio and myself should you have any questions post webinar. However, during the webinar, please feel free to enter any questions on the Q&A. If there's questions that I can answer right there and then, I will go ahead and answer them at the time. Or if there's more technical questions, things that you want to see within the tool, we will be taking some time along this hour to kind of go over those questions. So Julio will check in with me to see if we have any questions, and then I'll go ahead and present those questions to him. So without further ado, Julio, would you like to introduce yourself to our participants?
Absolutely. So my name is Julio Soto. I am the architectural hardware manager, the technical manager for architectural hardware. So I'm the subject matter expert for all things architectural hardware, and I'll be guiding you guys along this journey. You guys will be able to we'll build out an elevation, and we'll see what the tool looks like and what capabilities it has.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Julio. So again, please feel free to enter those questions on the Q&A. I will go ahead and get us started and showing you how you can go ahead and log in. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, Julio, can you confirm for me that you can see my screen? Let me
All good.
see. Okay. Uh, 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 oh, the wrong screen. My apologies. Okay. So when you are trying to log into this web version, you can find it in our website. So on our website, CRLawrence.com, you can go ahead and go to the landing page for Glass Entrances and Partitions. You can either go on the tab on top under Resources and then Online Tools, and click on Glass Entrances and Partitions. You can scroll down to where it says Login Web, and it's going to take you to this page. So this page is our login page. Okay. Um, just to let you know, right now you're able to see my username because we do have a test account for this. However, when you're logging in, you will not see your username. Okay. You can go ahead and add your username and then log in. Uh, Also wanted to let you know that this is a test account, the one that we're showing you. So on this test account, we might not have a lot of the glass pricing or process pricing because we just use it specifically for that reason for testing. So on your account, once you've populated the glass types, glass pricings, and so forth for your glass suppliers, you'll be able to see that. However, on this demonstration, you will not because, again, we haven't added those in there. Okay. So pretty simple. Just go ahead and log in.
I think you're sharing your other screen, Yancy.
Okay. Oh, sorry. You can't see my dashboard? Let me stop sharing. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so it's going to take you to, once you're logged in, it's going to take you to the dashboard. Julio, do you want to take them through the journey of the dashboard or would you like me to do that?
You can go ahead and cover that.
Perfect, perfect. So the dashboard is something new, something that we introduced with the, similar to this version. We introduced this in September. And this is our first update, you can say, for this web version. And the dashboard pretty much is going to give you the information that you can go ahead and track based on, your specific KPIs. So it's going to give you information such as the users who've logged in, any project counts. Like for example, on this test account, we have project counts. So it's going to provide you with how many projects were created, how many quotes were created and how many orders were generated through the site. The site is your account. Okay. If we scroll down, and again, this is on my test account, you can also customize it at your end by clicking the look of each of the graphs within the dashboard, as well as what you would like to see by clicking on these three dots in the corner. So also it provides you with the quote conversion. So from the projects you created, how many did you quote? From those that you quoted, how many did you order? Also, which of the users created these specific projects? So depending on what your needs are, you'll be able to see that. Okay, and that's going to be more specific to your site. However, the only person that can make the customizations to any of the dashboard is typically seat one, which is the site administrator. Typically, seat one is the one that has the highest access, so they can make the changes on the dashboard depending on what you need. Again, during the webinar, I'll go ahead and add my email should you have any additional questions on how to make those changes within the dashboard, or what specifically you would like to see. Please feel free to reach out. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get us through a journey of creating a project, and I'll send it off to Julio. Thank you, Julio.
Cool. Thanks, Yancy. All right,
Of
so
course.
since you already shared what it looks like from a front end perspective, I want to go ahead and cover, the project perspective, right? And I like working this way, sort of like a book, right? Left to right, top to bottom. And you'll see right here on your main dash, you'll see a couple of things, right? ID, which is really not relevant to you, in your case yourself as the end user. That's just more of an internal usage. But what's really important to you is going to be your project name, your customer, your location, your description, your quantities, and when it was entered. So right here, you'll see a couple other names you might not be familiar with. This is internal, like Yancy said. This is more of a test account. So we might see other customers right here. But for our purposes that we're going to be doing, let's go ahead and start building something out. So we already discussed project name, right? That was the first thing we covered. Let's call this project name test webinar. And we can call it, if you want to use dates, you can as well. So whatever your project name may be, and you can use today's date, for example. So let's put 3/25/2025. And for your customer name, you can use your customer name. So if you are quoting this out for a GC, if this is going out to bid, Let's call this Joe's Construction, since that's who you're quoting it out to. All right. So these are going to be the most important things you cover along when you create a project. You don't necessarily have to focus too much on your quote number. This is very internal, unless Yancey, you want to go ahead and cover these specific nuances like project quote, order, and private notes.
Yes, of course. So the tabs in the bottom, the project quote, order, and private notes, this is more specifically for you and your customer. This, in a sense, leaves CRL out of the scope. This is, for example, on project tab. Then can you click on the project tab, Julio, since you're sharing your screen?
Absolutely.
Thanks. So thank you. So on the project tab, you will find like, for example, and this, mind you, location is more for our showers because this version actually also is integrated with Showers Online. So it kind of has a similar layout, but it's going to ask you for a location should you need to add a specific location. If you wanted to add a project code or a project ID, you can go ahead and add the project code or project ID. It allows you to see who created this specific design. So which of the users on your site created it, the quantity, the date this was created, any of the status is the status between you and your customer. Are you waiting for the order? Are you waiting for the quote? Has it been ordered already? Did you win the bid? Did you lose the bid? Was this completed? So just in that sense, any site details or site address, you can go ahead and add that here as well in contact information. On the quote tab, then that's more specifically to when you quoted, who you quoted it with, and so forth. On the order tab is how will you deliver your material to your customer? Are you gonna go ahead and deliver it to the site? Are they gonna pick it up to a branch? So pretty much in that sense, you can also specify at the specific date and time should you have a specific date and time that the customer is waiting for the material. Private notes is simply should the customer call in maybe one of your coworkers and just say, you know what, I changed my mind on the finish. Let me change the finish. So that specific person can either make the changes on the design, or they can enter the private on the private notes tab. They can enter the notes specifically should this customer want to call back or have revisions to the project. So again, this is between you and your customer, whether it's when you're quoting or designing the project. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah,
Beautiful.
perfect.
Beautiful. Cool. So now we kind of
Of
walked them
course.
through the new things that we added to the program, right? So let's go ahead and build let's build a glass entrance in this case. So since we're doing glass entrances partition, that's exactly what I want to be able to build out. Let's build out something pretty straightforward and also very common, right? We want to be able to do something that we'll be seeing a lot of. So let's do all glass. We'll click on all glass. We'll do a flat layout. And for this one, let's leave it as is, as a left-handed door. And let's put no transom up above. So for our specific project, I want to be able to do a left-handed door, and I also want it to be able to have side lights on both sides. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And now it populates over to a 3D model, and you also have the capability to make changes inside. So like I originally said, I wanted to go ahead and start from top, bottom, left to right, sort of like reading a book here. So for this one, I want to have door top and bottom door rails on both sides. And this is where you can make that change if you need something to be changed. So let's leave it as door rail system for right now. Here on this side, you can make your changes in color. The most popular for us being our brushed stainless. So I want to leave it as brushed stainless for right now. We want to be able to see what is the most common usage, and that's why I want to be able to build it as such also. So usage, is whatever your usage might be, the most common being interior. These Herculi doors are typically used on interior systems anyway. We'll have it as custom links. I want to be able to order this and be able to go ahead and have this job site ready as soon as I'm ready to go. So we'll leave it as that. Measure method center line glass is always going to be from the center line of the glass. There's no other option anyway. So we'll leave it as is. Glass supplier. Yancey touched upon this on glass supplier. We don't have any glass pricing, but this is where you can add your glass supplier. You can add your pricing, and you'll have the capability to be able to have your pricing shot out to you as soon as you complete your project also. So that's going to be more specific for yourself. I wouldn't be able to show that to you, but it is nice that it is there for you. And you can also change your glass sizing here at the bottom. And you'll notice there's two types of default glass, right? You'll see default glass single, and you also see the same thing on the bottom. One is for the door, the other is for the side lights. So that's where you'll see your default glass makeup, and the top one is going to be for your door, and the bottom is going to be for your side light panels. So we'll leave it as half-inch tempered glass for now. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll leave it as is, and in order to move on to your doorways, the first thing you need to do, you'll notice that these are grayed out. That's because I need to go ahead and enter my dimensions. So the system won't let you move on until you enter your dimensions of your system. So let's do a 108 height, and let's do the same thing on the bottom. Let's do a 9x9 opening. So now that you entered in your openings, you'll notice that your 3D model shifted. So your standard is going to be naturally a 36-inch door. If you want to change that, you can, but let's leave it for now. I'll show you what it looks like once it changes. So right now you have a 36-inch door, and these side light panels are evenly split for right now. If you need to have one a little smaller than the other, then you can obviously make that change. But I did want to showcase to you what happens if you make, your door a little bit bigger. If you have a 38.5-inch door, you can make that change, and you'll see your door just shifted a little bit. It got a little bit bigger, and it shifted your 3D model as well. So I did want to showcase that to you, but for the purpose of what we're doing, I want to make it as common as possible, so what you'll be able to build out. So let's keep moving along. Doorways. What kind of door do we want? We talked about this earlier, but here's where you can make your change in door. So in door rail system is where you'll see door rails and patch fittings as well. So you'll have that P style door and what we call an A style door as well. So the A style door is going to be your patch fittings. And now you see I clicked on patch fittings. You have top and bottom patch fittings with your header at the top. So I want to leave it as is. I want full top and bottom door rails. Cool. And as we picked earlier, our finish was brushed stainless. But if you have something else, you can obviously make that change here. We'll leave it as is since that's what we had discussed earlier. Your doorway, it's a single piece of glass. And if you have a doorway name, let's make this doorway name panel 1, since that's what we're going to call it, right? So we'll call this panel 1 for now, just so we can make sure to name it. In case you have multiple elevations, that's how you can distinguish this. If you have a specific swing your doorway needs to go in, if your door can only swing in because you're going into an office space, for example, you don't want your door swinging out and hitting somebody along the way when they're walking through the hallway, you can make that change inside this right here. So like we mentioned earlier, our door is going to be an active swing left, so it's going to swing inwards on the left, and it's going to be hinged pivoting on the left-hand side. And our closer, here's where you can make your change to your closer. The most common, especially for Herculite doors, is going to be your overhead concealed closers. If you need something on the bottom, you can make that change to the floor closure in case you can do that overhead. But, in case you can't do that, you'll have both options. And if you don't want any closure, you can always pick none. But the option is going to be there for you. So I want to make sure to have a closure on my door. The pivoting, you can make these are going to come standard as center hung. If you need these offset, you can make that change right here. So where it's 3/4 inch offset or 1.5 inch offset, you'll have that right there. But your typical pivot, your pivot offset for center hung door is going to be 2 3/4. Your locks, you can make sure wherever you need your locks, you can make sure to distinguish that. I don't like locks at the top, so typically I won't pick that, but you have the capability to do it. If your door is going to have for example, a lever latch, like a DL, like a DL4, like a 4x10 lock, you can go ahead and make that option here and it'll make sure to click that for you. But I don't really like that too much either. I usually like having my door locks at the bottom of my base. So that's when it'll automatically kick out to a bottom locking door rail. So now we have that. We have bottom locking door rail. We have top and bottom rails. We are in prime position to move on. Now, we have what kind of doorway we need. Let's go ahead and move on to above our door. So that'll be our header. So we have our header up above. That's where your overhead concealed closure is going to go. In case you need a door stop, you can go ahead and do that. And I would go ahead and do it just in case, just because you're going to have this swinging inwards. So you want to make sure to put a door stop in between. Your header as well. If you have this comes standard with the 4-inch header, but if you need a 4.5-inch header or a 6-inch header or a narrow style header, the option is going to be there for you. So you'll see you can make that change in there, and it automatically kicks out to brush stainless also. So when you make that initial shift, when you make that initial click on brush stainless in the beginning, the rest of your system, the rest of your finishes are going to match along the way too, which is nice, which is, peace of mind to know. And here's where you can make your closer change also. So you have different types of closers. You have 90-degree closer, you have 105s, and you can pick whether you want them hold open, no hold open, whatever the case may be. I'll just leave it at 90 degrees hold open for now, since this is our adjustable Jackson closure. This is the most standard one you'll see with overhead concealed closure, especially. So we'll leave it as is. Door top, you have our 4-inch square door rail. I actually am going to need this to be for ADA. So let's make sure to change that out to a 4-inch tapered door rail without a lock on the top. So that's where you can make that change right there. If you need it to be specific for ADA, just keep that in mind that you are going to need a 4-inch tapered door rail. So we'll go ahead and make that change. And the arm, if you want a different arm, you can go and do that. I personally always, this is the standard I always give out, and standard I will always pick also is that 8010 AS, the short arm. So let's just leave it at that. And for your door base, this is your bottom door rail. Same thing. I want to make sure that it matches the top as well. So we have a 4-inch tapered at the top. Let's go ahead and just mimic that at the bottom. Let's do a 4-inch tapered door rail with a lock. And you'll automatically see that it picks all of them to have a lock. But in case you need a specific sort of lock, like a mag lock, you can make that option inside the system as well. So I want these to match top and bottom, 4-inch tapered door rails at the head and at the bottom too. And your door arm as well. You have your insert will be here as well. So if you have a specific arm or pivot that you need, you can go ahead and make that change at the bottom here. But the 8010 DP is usually the most common as well, like I said. And here's where you can make the change in cylinder. So pretend you need 2 cylinders on both sides, or you need a cylinder outside, a dummy cylinder inside. You can always make that change here as well. But I'm going to leave it as a standard. I want a cylinder on the outside and be able to lock it on the inside. So have that thumb turn inside. Now below the door, here's where you can make any sort of changes you might need in case you need a threshold or whatever type of job specific information you might need. Here's where you can always make that change. So you'll have the standard is going to be the AMR 209 dust proof keeper. If in case you need something else specifically, you can make that change. But I like the AMR 209 for this specific case that we're doing today. Handles. If you don't want the standard 12 by 12 handle, you can always make a change to whatever kind of handle you want. You have 12-inch handles, 24-inch handles, but I want for our job, let's pick a 48-inch ladder pull. So we'll have it right there, 48 LP ladder style pull. And you'll see the different options right there. You have the S style pull, the designer's pull, 42-inch pulls, all sorts of different pull handles that you can pick out. But I want a 48-inch, I'm sorry, ladder pull. And door surrounds. This is going to be for any vertical jams you might need. Let's keep in mind that these do not meet ADA. So just in case you thought about putting that, let's keep that in mind. And you can pick it for one side or both sides. So let's just show you what it looks like, and you'll see that change sort of reflect right there also. But I don't want any, so let's get rid of those. Very nice. Now we have officially completed our door. So let's go to the side lights. What kind of side lights do you want? The standard is going to be top and bottom channels. But if I want these to match my door rails, I can go ahead and pick on rails as well. So we'll pick a header, and we'll have the rails at the bottom too. Missing. So we'll have rails, and we'll leave it as header rail. That's what it is. That's what I was looking for. So I want this to have the same sightline vision. So you'll have a header across the entire way, and you'll have your 4-inch tapered door rail. So you have that nice sightline, and you'll see a clean line across the entire way through. So whatever your change might need, if your customer wants to see more glass, you can obviously change it to where you have a header channel and it'll run all the way across and you'll see more glass. But for our purpose, I want it to be as clean as possible and have that sightline vision. So your walls, in case you have something else aside from silicone and you want to put U channels on the side, you can go ahead and do that. But I just want to butt glaze my joints on all ends right here. And below your side lights, same thing too. You're going to want to make that change if that's what you're looking for. But for me, I want to make sure to have that clean sight line all across where this is continuous, right? So you have that matching profile at the top. You are going to want to have that on the bottom as well. If that's what you're looking for, right? Like I said, you can make any job specific information you want, however your customer is asking for this, you can obviously do that. So we'll go ahead and do that. And now you pretty much have what you need in terms of a job. But in case you have some sort of specific measurements for your panels, let's pretend your panels are off and you need to have a little bit more gap on the left-hand side. So right now we're clicked on the left-hand side side light panel. So our side light panel, I need a little bit more than an eighth of an inch gap. Let's pretend I need a quarter of an inch for whatever reason, whatever the case might be. So you can go ahead and make that change and it'll implement that when you kick out your glass sizes. So at the end of our project, we'll get our glass sizes, but this is where you can make any changes you need to any panel. So in case you need more clearance at the top, bottom, left side, right side, you can make that change to any single panel that you're looking for. So like I said, here's the left side, bottom side, right side, top side. And you can do that for every single panel here too. And like I said, the same thing. Not sure why you would need more space, but in case you do for whatever funky field measurement you might have, or the job site's just out of whack here or there. I mean, no job site is ever perfect. I mean, I'm working on a job currently right now, and you can sell the floors on level at certain places, so you can always make that change wherever you might need. So, like I said, I just kind of wanted to walk you through that and showcase that you're able to do that. But more importantly, materials list. So at the end of your project, you'll be able to see what your materials look like. And you can always add more in case, and the first thing I do whenever I finish something is I make sure to double check it. So I'll run through this in case I'm missing something. And I'm looking, and it looks like I have everything good to go right now, but I am missing silicone. So I can always make sure to add silicone if I'd like. So let's pretend I need 33 SC and I want 5 tubes of silicone. So you can go ahead and do that. And it'll save you. Right now, I don't have any pricing just because I'm not an end user. But here you'll see it kicked into my list of materials here too. So you have my 33 SC right there. And whoops, hold on. Now I want to go back to my layout. Let's pretend you're looking at your system, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you need to add more panels for whatever reason, the system doesn't give you the sort of look you're looking for, you can always add more to whatever side. So now I have more panels on each side, and if I need a transom, I can always put one above also. So just keep that in mind that whatever your case might be, you can always make those changes on all your sides too. So, and if you want to add a group, let's make this elevation 1. You can clone it or you can append your panel. So if you want to mimic this for floors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can go ahead and you can do that too. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that the capabilities are here. I know in Citrix, some of you might be used to it as well, that you're able to clone and add more groups to your elevations. Those capabilities are still here in storefronts, and I'm sorry, in Glass Entrances and Partitions Online.
Ooh, ooh, Julio.
Oh, look at this. Doorway 2 has the same name as another panel 1. Do you
Mhm.
still want to save a structure? Sure. I'll still save it. But yes, in case you have some problems, this will still kick out your warning notes that you need to be able to keep that in mind. So now that we're done completing that, let's go to project list. So now I have 2 of the exact same systems, and I'm glad it did give me that warning note. So now you're able to see that you'll have that phone that you'll be able to see it won't let you advance unless you know what you're getting. So now I have 2 of the exact same elevations for floor 1 and floor 2, for example, and I want to see my glass size. So let's go to first thing I want to do is generate, go to view and glass order PDF. Here you go. Here's our elevation. So you have your 4 panels since I added 2 more. It kicked out the dimensions I needed. So you'll have 3 each of the exact same things as mentioned before. And you'll have 1 each of your door itself too. So just so you keep this in mind, you can always send this to your glass fabricator as soon as you're done. But I do want to showcase that to you in case you do need to make that change. Oh, sorry about that. That shouldn't have happened. Here you go.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. And if you need to make any cutting, your cutting instructions are going to be here as well. For our case, it's all going to be custom, but let's just pull it out for the sake of conversation. Your cutting instructions will be here as well. Your elevations, your clone. So if you need to make any adjustments, those adjustments will be indicated on the cutting instructions as well. So you'll see all of this here. So like I said, and once you're ready to go, you can go ahead and quote and get this quoted out once you are ready. You go to order, and in our case, we're getting it quoted. I want to get this quoted. You enter your account number here. I don't have an account number, unfortunately, but this is where you would make
Julio,
sure to,
so
yes,
typically you will not be required to enter any account number. This is only for internal users because this is a internal test account. We are
right,
required to enter an account number. Also, should this is also used for example, should a customer not have the program and would like us to design something for them, this would be where their CRL account number would go, so we can shoot out, the glass order to them, the installation instructions and so forth.
sure,
So just wanted to kind of step in here. Also within the view. You can always click multiple reports and it's going to allow you to download all of the reports that you would need. Just to leave the little check mark on the reports you need, and then it's going to download all of them at the same time. So you don't have to download everything at one by one. Another thing is we have the online quote. The online quote on this a specific version, it gives the customer, if you can pull it up, please. It gives the customer more of interactive view. So similar to what it's on the tool itself when you're designing. Um, you can also play any automation. So on the bottom left-hand side, you can play the automation, and it's gonna allow you to see the doors opening and closing. You can drag it. You can see it in 3D. You can see it in a bird's eye view, and so forth. So you can also hide the dimensions should you want to hide the dimensions. This is a completely new look to the quote. Okay. Um, so that's also available there. So you can also download that. Another thing is if you want to go ahead and share this online quote with your customer, simply copy the URL and send it over to to your customers so they can access it, and they're also going to be able to look at the quote. So a lot of good things. I know that Julio also touched earlier on a quoting. Again, account number, you don't need it. That's automatic because any subscription or even the free trials, they're completely linked to your CRL account. So any orders that you're placing or any quotes are going to go directly um, to your CRL account. So after you've created a quote, let's say, okay, you created and someone else within your company um, is going to be responsible to speak to the customer, because I know sometimes we have different roles within the company, and one person can have the access to the tool and another one's going to reach out to the customer and say, hey, so we have a quote ready for you. This is the pricing. This is what whatever the case may be. They can also access these quotes on the website. So simply logging into the Sierra Lawrence website, putting in your username. You can go under my accounts, and then you can go ahead and go to all quotes, and you're going to find your quotes there. You can either choose to convert your quotes through the tool itself, um, because you're also able to do the conversion of quote to order here within the tool once your customer has agreed to your pricing and so forth, or you can do it on the website. Completely your choice. Also, I know that when you're quoting, and this is not something that we're going to go in depth here in this webinar, but remember that this tool is something that you can use on a daily basis. for you to create your quotes to the customers. So part of the functionality of the tool or the features within the tool is you being able to add your markup, whether it's to the hardware or to the glass. Okay. Um, I'm gonna touch very lightly on this, but should you need any how-tos or not too familiar on how to do that within the tool or doing the maintenance or the settings within the tools, please feel free to reach out. I've added my email address on the chat. I have already some how-tos that I can send over. And if I don't have it, then I can create it for you and send that over so you're fully on board. I also know that Julio touched on the glass suppliers. So here you can also add your different glass suppliers, whoever you're going to order the glass to. When you're subscribing to the tool, you don't have any glass suppliers there. So it's a one-time setup that you can add your glass suppliers. While you're adding your glass suppliers, please feel free to, and I can, if we have a little bit of time at the end, I can show you kind of briefly where you would go, because when you start adding your glass supplier, it then leads you to adding your glass type and your glass process pricing and your glass pricing. So you do all at once. That is a one-time setup where you're adding all of this and in the beginning. Once you've added all your glass suppliers, you're good to go, and all of your quotes and your estimates will include both the hardware. You have already quoted the hardware from us, but the glass is already going to be there. Okay, so just wanted to interject and bring that over to you. Go ahead, Julio.
Very nice.
Show us how to quote.
Perfect.
You can use the I'm entering on the sending you over the a test account that you can use to create the quote, and then also place the order so they can see how seamless and quickly is the turnaround for that. So I just sent it here on the chat. You should be able to see it on the chat, the test account that you can use.
Perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Yancy. All right, so you already went ahead and did this for us. So let's go ahead and get this on order now. So we went ahead and did that. Let's quote out the hardware. I'll quote it out for them. So we have all of our testing simulated already. Let's go ahead and start with how we want this prepared, right? So we have our account number. This will, like Yancy said, this will automatically be populated, but I am a customer and I want to pick this up at will call. So the first thing I want to do, let's go ahead and set up our delivery method, how we're going to do this, because this is coming to us, right? So email, if there's a specific email you would like this to, send this over to yourself or one of your estimators or whoever may be that's ordering, right? That's who the quote would be going to. You have your estimator name, your contact, your address. This is obviously set up right now for a CRL corporate office, but in the future, if you need to go ahead and do that, you can go ahead. So we'll go ahead and request a quote. For yourself, it'll automatically populate, like Yancy said, but for us internally, we need to go ahead and request a quote. Let's go ahead and quote our hardware. Give it a second while it loads, obviously. Beautiful. So now all of our material has been quoted successfully. Beautiful. It looks great. Now we're going to go ahead and place the order. Let's go ahead and get ready to go. How do I want this set up? I'm not going to place an order because I don't want this getting charged yet, but this is where you would want to do it, right? You have your purchase, or if you have a specific PO number, delivery, like I said, everything's already set up like you did in your quote, and you would go ahead and place your order here. So I'm going to
Julio,
dismiss it. Yes.
go ahead and place the order. Go back to the project. And then on the purchase order number, just put please cancel, and then place the order. I can go ahead and cancel it. Should our shipping department not catch it, I can go ahead and cancel it here. But I would like them to see, how quickly it gives us the sales order number.
Cool. I'll be happy to. Let's do it.
Yeah. Also, one of the key features for this version, we kind of did a little bit of a study, not necessarily with glass entrances, but we did it for showers. And heard from a lot of our customers that most of the time the reason why they didn't convert their orders within the tool was because they had no visibility of the stock. Okay, so that was alleviated by adding the stock levels here. So that's why I mentioned earlier, you have a choice. You can either place your order directly from the tool itself, or you can go ahead and go to our website and convert the tool there. Last option, not necessarily last, but also another option is contact our staff here at CRL, and they can go ahead and convert that over to you. Also, should you have any changes to the quotes, you can also do them here within the tool. If you're changing that specific quote because you want to add more hardware or delete hardware, what's going to happen is it's going to cancel that quote, and it's also going to purge it or remove it from our internal your Tandem account number here, and then it'll ask you to requote it. So just wanted to bring that up. As you can see, pretty quick turnaround time for quoting. I'm sorry, for ordering the hardware. Now, if you click OK, Julio, so your order has been placed. And then on also here on this tab under the order tab, you will also see that this order, because it was over $5,000, it did go to review, so it is assigned to someone in our sales team to kind of go over. Most likely there's a pricing either discrepancy with any of the hardware. So our sales, usually when it says review, it's going to tell you to come back and check for pricing, but typically you don't have to check. You can always contact or email one of our reps here, or our rep is going to go ahead and send you the quote by email to the email you provided here on the tool. Okay. But typically any hardware that doesn't have any custom pricing will not go to review. You're able to order a lot of the hardware. So our door roll system is one that typically you will not, unless there's again, a threshold like there is on this specific order. I know and this I entered it on the chat, but also really great news to this version. We did include our Fallbrook series. So those are our office partitions with Fallbrook, Fallbrook XL, Fallbrook XL New York. Those you can also get the pricing right away within the tool. So great news, you have that there. Of course, we will continue to make improvements to all of our online programs. So part of those improvements are to add more systems on there. So more to come. This is just the beginning for us. Go ahead and
Yes.
take it away,
I'm
Julio.
glad you mentioned I'm glad you mentioned Fallbrook too, Yancy, because that's one of the ones I want to cover on the next webinar is using Fallbrook. For the first one, I wanted to just do one of the most common usages, being like our door rail system, for example, or patch fittings. But on the next one, I do want to go into detail on Fallbrook because that is something customers have been asking about. How do we use it? What does it look like? So we'll go ahead and cover that on our next webinar next month.
Perfect, perfect. Also, I know I also mentioned in reference to the markup. So, Julio, do you mind taking us to the quote and order tab again, please? So
I don't
here
mind at
you're,
all.
yeah, thank you. So here you also find the three tabs. One is the estimates tab, which is on your left hand side. So we have the estimates tabs, which is going to be in itemization of the hardware, the glass. Can you tab on estimates on the left? Thank you. So you're going to see here what's the pricing for hardware. So you can see the pricing there. Should we have included pricing for glass, you would also see the pricing for glass there. We also have any specific charges or subcharges that you want to add, like for example, travel expenses, any discounts as well. You're going to be able to see a high level overview of what that pricing is. Now, if you click on the next tab, which is the glass, it's going to be more, it's going to give you more specific information to each panel. So it's going to give you the description for the panel, like the glass thickness, the coating, it's tempered, the sizing, the areas, the quantity, and any pricing, should we have any pricing or any discounts. Okay. Then of course the final tab, which is the hardware, which we already saw, and it's going to give you the pricing and also the availability of the hardware. Now, I know I mentioned the markup. So if you don't mind, on the top left-hand corner, just because I had technical challenges with sharing my screen earlier. Do you mind clicking on the menu, the sandwich menu, which are the three little lines on the top left-hand corner, right next to CRL? Perfect. So here is where you'll also find some of your setting options, which, like I mentioned earlier, if you are a site admin, then you'll be able to see at the process pricing, the site, and also the adding a glass supplier, process pricing, glass type, and so forth. So all of that, you can do that here. Also, you can see the settings there. Typically, the settings can be changed by, again, the site admin. Should you have any questions in reference to any of these, again, feel free to reach out. For example, I know that in the project tab, we had that project code. So if you wanted to change and not have the project code pop up, then we can change it to the project ID. Typically, the project ID is auto-generated by the system. So should you not want to add a PO and that the project ID, then when you place the order, should you not change the PO number, it will populate the the project ID. So please make sure that if you want to go ahead and add a purchase order, when you're placing the order, make sure to change it there for your own um, uh, accounting purposes and for follow-up, of course. So yeah, again, very versatile and user-friendly tool. This is our second tool that we launched as a web version. Again, this is just the beginning for us when it comes to Glass Entrances. On this specific version of Glass Entrances, you will only find, for those of you who are storefronts online users, you may know that some of our US Alum hardware is in storefronts. It's not on this version. We only have CRL systems here. However, more to come. Again, we have a lot of great new tools that we are working on for you. There is a survey at the end of this webinar, 3 simple questions. What is it that you like the most? What can we improve? And are you ready to subscribe? Even if you're not ready to subscribe and you would like a free trial, please email me, send me your request. I will review all of the surveys, all of the Q&A questions, which, by the way, I'm happy to think that we did a great job at explaining this to you because I didn't see very many questions. The 2 questions that I did see, I did respond live. One thing that I think both Julio and myself forgot to mention is the web version is a lot more compatible with all Apple devices. So I know that in the past with our Citrix version, we were challenged with the little different glitches because of the compatibility and because we used a third-party application, which is Citrix Workspace. So with the web version, you are saving yourself a license fee or setup fee. One, two, it is also very, very compatible, very user friendly with all Apple devices as well as any web browser. So whether you're used to using Google Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, whatever it is, it's user friendly. Use it 24/7. Um, Again, no need for you to download an application on your phone either. Just use your browser. So with that, if you
Yeah, if you have
yeah,
right,
I was
yeah,
gonna
if
say
you
if you
you're
with
right.
that.
If
Mhm. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah. I was saying, yeah, if you have, like you were saying, right, this is, you can pretty much do this anywhere. If you're at the job site and you have an iPad, or if you even want to do this on your phone, you can always get the quotes pretty much automatically on the spot.
Mhm, mhm. Yep, exactly. Anywhere, anytime is going to be our model. Again, I didn't share Julio's email address because Julio is our expert at hand, but our first line of defense and any questions when it is about our systems, our hardware, our first line of defense is our technical team as far as, I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of our leaders, but Tommy's team, Eric's team, when it comes to Bloomcraft, offers partitions. So give us a call, or I did include also the entrance.partitions@zerolawrence.com. You can email us there. Um, Also for that additional support, whether it's support in setting up a free trial, setting up a subscription with any of our systems, please feel free to reach out. I did provide you with my email address. Should you have any questions in reference to any specific features, I also really, really love to hear from you, love your feedback, because if there's something that we can improve within our programs, I want to hear. I want to know. I want to see what's most important to you as our customer and what is that you need for your business. I'll share it with our team, and if we think that this is something that's going to affect the majority of our customers, believe me, we're going to go ahead and add that there. So again, share your feedback. We're here to listen. We're here to see how we can support you in growing your business. So with that, anything else to add, Julio?
No, Yancey, you did a great job. I'm glad we went through this, and I'm glad we were able to answer most of the questions. Did we miss anything by chance, Yancey, or are we okay?
No, we are okay. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, wow, we did a great job because I just didn't see no questions. So, but again, if you don't have any questions now, that's fine. If should you have any questions after this the webinar, please feel free to reach out. Also on the registration, you do have my email address should you want to reach out as well. Um, so with that, thank you. Oh, before I let you go, I just remembered one thing. Um, for those of you who are here and probably, may have already dropped off or, we're probably multitasking like some of us tend to do. I will be sending a follow-up email just to kind of thank you for your time and sharing with you the video of this webinar should you want to go through it again. Also, should you require any training of any sorts, please feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to discuss that with you one-on-one to see if you wanted additional training for yourself or someone within your team or for your team overall. Okay. So with that, thank you, and well, thank you. I'm very grateful that you joined us for our first Glass Entrances. More to come, a lot more great experiences and more improvements. And Julio, thank you so much for your time and taking us through this journey of creating our door rail system.
Beautiful. Thanks, Yancey.
So
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
thank you. Have a great day.